I'm sorry. That was a cough and a laugh. I apologize.
That's fine. That's how we're starting this.
Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Headspace Podcast. It is, in fact, episode 47.
Yep.
And it's your boy HSR.
Yo, it's your boy Chris Chrome.
And so Prophetry apparently had some romantic plans scheduled for tonight and decided that romance and whatever follows romance was far more interesting than joining us tonight.
I'm just starting to think people don't like us.
No. Prophetry's back. In fact, he was he's jealous that he couldn't be part of other review. He's here. He's coming back. He
All right.
Just wants to get laid, dude. Let him do his
No
thing.
hate.
He's polite, but still. Anyway.
The latest motherfucker in the room is we figured out.
Well, he's not in the room right now, so
No.
I guess that makes you. So this week it is episode 47, as I said, and why don't you tell us who we are reviewing?
Well, for this week's album, we decided to go with Gigs.
It's more of a mixtape.
Wamp to Them.
That's what we went with. The reason for this is there's twofold. One,
Nobody dropped an album this week.
there was really not a lot that came out in the hip hop that we saw, or
Yeah.
at least as far as when we say what we saw, it's more like what we recognize and generally know, because otherwise we've shot in the dark and it's not been interesting. But Gigs is a name we have all heard before.
Yep.
Because back in the Drake review,
Yep.
Gigs was there. And we had said some preposterous and boisterous statements like, we want to review Gigs if you ever drop some shit. Well, here he came out and dropped some shit, and the opportunity.
Little birdie told him.
And here we are. Honestly, I got no exposure to grime, so for all y'all
What
that
do we do?
No, I have virtually none. I listen to maybe two albums ever.
Fair.
I mean, I don't understand the culture. I don't understand the slang. I'm saying this now right here at the beginning to all of you real fans who are going to come in and maybe be disappointed with my impressions and songs or my lack of understanding of the brilliance of the style. I am so fascinated and curious, but I genuinely don't fully understand what I just listened to.
Fair.
I really
I
try.
get you.
It's like listening to hip-hop, but it's also so weirdly not hip-hop while being hip-hop at the same time.
Well, think about it. It's also the way they talk and the way they use words and their connotations of the words.
I know. It's like watching BBC television and rap music.
Fair.
So there is a high degree of interest. But first, before we go any further, let's talk about SodaStream so I can freaking clear my throat.
Well,
I got old-fashioned lemonade.
I got water. I'm just chilling. None of that fanciness today.
Well, I just like using it. I enjoy the fizz of the bubbles.
I like pressing down on the little...
Okay, so if you don't really care about any particular part of this, hit the show more. In the description below, you'll see a link to all the songs and when we particularly talk about each one.
Yep.
Because you might not care about any part of this. Honestly, I don't have a lot to add. I don't know a lot about grime. I want to learn more. If you want to lead me to cool documentaries or specific key albums that...
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, the entry point. From what I understand, you have to listen to Enter the 36 Chambers to properly understand the Wu-Tang and things like that. So...
Well, actually, let us know who's your favorite grime artist. Even if you don't listen to it, go try to check it out and see which one you like and let us know in the comments.
If we were going to go do another Gigs album or something and bring some grime into the Classic Quest or some shit like that, what's the Gigs album we should review? Help us out here. I know I can go look them up after, but unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of time to get this done.
Been a busy day.
It's been a busy year in general. Not to make excuses, but I genuinely find it more interesting to see the stuff that the real fans have been sharing because it's often this niche or that rare interview from 1993 or something. And that stuff I'm not finding
the
on my
unlocked
own.
parts of the internet.
I can do the common stuff. So anyway, we would just like to learn more about the culture and get more onto it as time goes on. Maybe not all the time, but definitely delve into it. It's so fascinating. Anyway, I'm being redundant. What did you think of this album cover and the title Wamp to Them?
I didn't understand what it meant at first. Still don't understand what it means now. But I kind of got this feel of we're coming at them, we're ready to go, we're coming for people or whatever. I like the image. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little drawn face, black cover.
It says gigs.
It says gigs. It's all the writing's in white and the eyes are in white, and it's cool. Like it's not anything that stands out really. I don't really feel like it's a very that boom, but I mean,
so yeah, I don't know. I find it pretty simple. It's nice and concise. It's got almost like an inviting cartoonish feel, but it don't fuck with me cartoonish feel all at the same time. I feel like it really reflects a bit of his personality. I have no idea what Wamp to them means, so I'm gonna guess. And honestly, if you guys could just explain it, somebody please explain Wamp to them. It would be helpful. Maybe it's talk to them, maybe it's fuck them. I'm not really sure.
Well, never mind.
I went to Urban Dictionary. I got a definition that Wamp had something to do with elbows, and that was a rabbit hole I just decided I didn't want to go down. And I was again going to rely on you, the fine YouTube people, to hopefully help me learn a little more. On that note, I think we should jump into this album and talk about the first track, Gully N word.
But money getting money, niggas. Man, I pull up summertime sunshine.
So this is like a giant verse. He just goes, and he keeps up like this cadence, and he drops a lot of witty bars along the way, right? Like,
very creative. Very creative. I'll give him that.
And I've noticed that there's a lot of repetition in this style, and I don't know how to feel about it, right? I feel like it's something I don't understand. Like the way he'll be like, I feel like he almost just repeats lines sometimes and throws in different words, but it doesn't sound lazy like in the way that it'll come off lazy in American hip hop. It comes off like it's supposed to sound like that, and it sounds pretty cool the way he does it.
Well, he does do like he has a different cadence than a lot of American rappers.
But it's more than that. It's like the way he composes the lines makes sense.
That too. The way he go on.
And then, like, I had to write this one down because it just caught my eye, like, for real. So disrespectful, felt so disrespected. That's an example of what I mean. Like, that's the kind of repetitious stuff that normally bothers me, but the way he delivered and powered through these lines. Because it was also, he would say them all different in order to emphasize, like, different meanings almost behind the words. Then,
Fair.
Called up the sixth god, phone disconnected? I'm like, whoa, did Drake really do that to the dude? That's not very polite, Drake.
No.
Very disappointing.
Are you sure?
It's definitely called up the sixth god, phone disconnected.
Oh. I may have
right
read it
after
wrong.
feeling so disrespected. 100%.
Fair enough. I may have read it wrong.
I Googled, I'm like, wait, this is the guy? No, like, I checked it. This is the guy that did the... Oh, yeah, it is the guy who did the track with Drake. And that's when I realized who he was. But I thought that was noticeable. I like the beat. The beat has this great, I guess, grimy feel to it. That's the right word for it. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It comes in strong.
It's their trap sound. I feel like listening to this, I'm like, it's not trap beats, but it kind of feels like it is with the bass and that like feeling of being like in this heaviness, this energetic heaviness. I feel like they have this trap vibe with this hypeness to it, and we have like a trap kind of drug dealing vibe. Like we're faded, like loafed out type shit.
It's almost like the emphasis here is on he's real, he's harsher. These other guys are not really. They're almost all talk and stuff.
Yeah.
And I get the picture that he's on the like OG side of things from hearing these rhymes. Like he's been around for a while. He's been doing things for a while, and this new generation is misrepresenting things, and it's almost as if he's going through some of the struggles like a guy like Snoop Dogg or one of those types might be dealing with in today's hip-hop. I might be wrong. That's the general attitude or age presence I got from this guy.
There is a lot of suggestion towards, like, drug selling and coming at people on this album, and on this track alone there's a lot of like I'm coming for you and all this shit. So I feel like he's also maybe in, deeper things.
Well, I think he used to be in deeper things, and now music is cleaner things.
That's more
a lot of the case for a lot of people, because he feels like he's clearly established and whatnot, and he's extremely talented. I really liked his delivery, and I have to admit, the British thing at this point, serious novelty. It was really crazy. Like I said, it's not like a lot of this I've been exposed to, so I guess a 4. I thought it was a cool start to the album. It really puts him down as harsh. You know what I find? His like aggression or his like realness, it feels authentic. There's a certain degree of like, wow, I believe you. When I hear him talking about this stuff that I'm not getting from a lot of other music I might have heard, where it sounds almost preposterous, it's almost like this guy really understands the idea of real G's move in silence and almost knows. It's almost like hearing like Wu-Tang styled rap, but coming from like another area entirely, you know?
Fair. No, I get you. I as well gave it a 4 on 5. I thought it was a really strong start to the album. I would have gave it a 5 on 5. I just think that I wanted maybe a little more, but something to kind of chop it up more or less. There wasn't. Yeah. It was just one long verse. I get it.
See, I don't get it. I think that there's like this might be part of where like because honestly, there's not a lot of American songs that follow this format at all, and I like it. I like the format. I just also was like, wow, it's almost reminiscent of like an earlier era of hip hop where it was that constant cadence of flow and whatnot, and that part. I guess it takes some time to get used to. I don't really know what the key points I'm supposed to focus on are in terms of what makes better or worse grime as opposed to other shit, etc. But I really did enjoy the way his voice changes. And every few lines, or even if it's 8 bars of a constant thing, he'll make sure that the next 8 bars is something new. And he'll manage to deliver things just a little bit different. And I thought there was a lot of subtlety to the way this guy raps.
Nice.
Anyway. He was just trying to establish he's the ultimate gangster. 2 Chainz.
Anchor. Niggas just roll up and smoke, man. Niggas just going out gangsta.
Oh, this happened. Look, Gigs comes, first of all, this is a song where my feelings are mixed. It comes in so strong. A beat is so good. Yep. I think my favorite part of this album is the beats by far. Like, it's just...
They've got really cool beats. Like, that style.
I don't know. It's whole new to me. I decided grime is my new obsession in terms of beats. It sounds so cool to me. It's new, it's interesting, it's fresh. I love how this comes alive. And then he has this, like, hype-up sounds. This intro's pumping. And he comes in, and it's more of that real shit, where he's got these power bars. And he's, like, got that, like, slower cadence. And I really like the way he delivers them. And it's like... Man, it got good. I don't know the flow on this one. I don't know the flow on any of them yet, but like, it came in harsh and proper.
He's got a slower flow in terms of delivery,
but it's so on point.
Yeah,
and it's so well delivered, and he's got these subtleties. Sometimes I'll just leave a pause in the middle of it, but it works and it sounds good with the beat and everything. Then the hook comes in and it's mad repetitious, but he like flips it up a bit by changing the beat. Which is, again, like, even, like, when you listen, the way the Americanized repetitious choruses work, they often bother me. This one bothered me a little less, because it had that little effort to make it different.
Fair.
And then 2 Chainz. What the... Okay, so I feel mixed on 2 Chainz.
2 Chainz does what he always does.
But it sounded lazier than it usually is.
To be fair, I get where you say it sounds lazy, but it's not. It's the same shit 2 Chainz always does. I like 2 Chainz. I give him his credit. He's a great rapper, but it's 2 Chainz. He has metaphors on top of metaphors.
No, but what I mean is... I've listened to a fair bit of 2 Chainz, and his voice normally has a certain degree of energy and life in it.
Okay, if you're talking about that...
And on this song, like, if you listen to even, like, Gigs comes in, it has that same energy and life, that passion, that flame behind him. And 2 Chainz sounds like he's fucking bored the whole way through the verse.
Well, I feel like he's trying to give off this,
he's just saying the words, but he's not actually got any personality behind it.
I feel like he's giving off this mafioso, like, this whole, like... kind of, I'm at the top, relaxing, I'm just kind of saying what I gotta say, which bothered me. Like, I don't know where, that's where I'm trying to think you're going, and I get it, you're kind of chilled back, relaxed at the top.
My point is that it didn't match. It felt like it was just off, and at the end of the day, 2 Chainz here just felt lazy, and his verse is long, right? I love the long verse that Gigs dropped. I love the way this track felt, but then having to listen, the first bit of 2 Chainz is fine. He's actually witty and clever, but then he kind of just goes off on tangents, and it's like he doesn't know how to write a verse with this kind of congruency, and I just felt like he killed it for me, and I had to drop this down to a 3.5 on 5 because of 2 Chainz. Otherwise, it's a pretty freaking hype track.
Fair. I gave it a 3.5 on 5 as well, and it's because of 2 Chainz. I like his verses. And you know what? I do also realize that a lot of this was just bars and metaphors. There wasn't any like tactical
I don't agree,
I don't want to say
man.
tactical
I feel like
skill.
Giggs is able to deliver bars that kind of have a certain narrative flow to them, right?
Right. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like in terms of content and in terms of what they're saying, I feel like it's just like I'm this.
Well,
going after,
they're
like,
both describing their ultimate gangster personas. What I'm saying is,
right.
Giggs sounds like a fly boss type, like proper, like honestly what
Right.
you would expect from a boss ass rap song.
Right.
And 2 Chainz sounds like he is a wimp.
Right. What I'm saying is, you know how Jay-Z talks about him being a boss and movements and how he like does certain things. I feel like that's kind of what I expected from like describing an ultimate gangster, like how you kind of do play games, play movements and roles. And I felt like both of them were just like, I got this, I got that,
See,
I do
feel
this,
like,
I do, you know, like it was just
no.
I'm king shit.
See,
and I was
Giggs
like, okay.
I don't agree. That was 2 Chainz. Giggs had a
Okay.
little bit more of I'm paying attention. This is the reality around me. Like it honestly felt more in line with you could see the strategic thinking behind
all right,
Giggs.
maybe I didn't catch
He's
that.
a guy who like watches. He's like a no fuck around type. He's got the same kind of things and like he understands there's guns in the hood. That he understands there's things he has to respond to. And I felt like he really put himself up like a OG old school gangster type that doesn't fuck around and knows what's up. Whereas 2 Chainz may have said a lot of the right words, but you just know that he went and did his whole university thing and all that other stuff, and it's like, okay, I know 2 Chainz is whatever, and I just don't take him that seriously, and he didn't try very hard here, and I apologize to anyone who finds this disrespectful. It's just, I honestly feel like even the volumes were a little bit different between the two. Like, anyway. I guess that's enough on this one for me. The straight lifestyle is the one for me. No homo, but homo. I don't really want to piss off gay people. This was stupid to say.
Every minute talking, better get your cash up.
So we're at the 3rd track on this mixtape. It's not really an album, it's a mixtape. So I suppose album placement matters less on a mixtape. He's not really trying to create the great album experience.
Fair. Okay, I'll give you that.
But still, from a listener's perspective, this is the 3rd track in a row where it's like the same thing, really, from his end of it.
But I feel like he's more, how he's like not like he's kind of like clean about it.
Well, I mean, it's just that it's like what I'm saying is these 3 songs from his end have been very similar flows.
Yes.
Very similar structures, very similar rhyming patterns.
Yes.
And very similar subject matter as well, right? And I appreciate that. I feel like this is who he is, and he's putting it down, and it's not bad to listen to at all. I still think this is great, but it's another long verse song. It's not like too long. Like the 2 Chainz track there before was 5 minutes long. That one was hefty. This one's under 3 minutes, so it's okay. And he comes in, he raps the way through and bars. Like I realized this was British for real when I heard the Maggie Thatcher line, and I'm like, I never would have thought. I'm never gonna use that in a line. Like
Right.
Maggie. I never would have clicked that. Like it was just fun to hear. Like it's so culture shocking still, so it's okay. But I could see how like I would totally cherry pick a few songs from these album so far. And I'm like, I don't know that this is one of my favorite ones. That beat had that sound that like it kind of like was trying to sound hard, but didn't have the effect to me it was going for. And I don't have a lot more to add to this. I feel like this track is another solid, consistent one. I gave it a 3.5 on 5, not because it's poorly written. It's witty. He's very smart. It's very punchy, but I mean, we're still kind of
no diversity.
It's just not my favorite kind of hip hop. It's kind of like in the same vein as like what bothered me about Action Bronson and a few other guys, where it was just a lot of bars that just kept going, a lot of wit, but there's not necessarily so much behind it. I mean, maybe I'm missing the brilliance. Maybe I'm not seeing it, but to me it just sounds like he's doing his thing. He's as real as all the other guys. Like I don't know. I'm not seeing. I don't relate to this that much either, which I guess makes it hard. Either way, 3.5. I don't know. Sorry, internet.
No, honestly, from my perspective as well, I gave it a 3.5 on 5. It's great. It's creative. It's fun to listen to, but it doesn't. It's kind of like I've heard this already in the last 2 tracks. I'm not saying that they're identical or they're the same. I feel like on this one he's more clean about how he moves. It's more what I asked for on the last track, I'll admit that. But I still feel like it's very repetitive in terms of the bars he uses and the metaphors that he's basically
It made me like
inclining to.
It made me like wonder if that's part of the style, is to drill home these redundant rhyme uses and things like that. But I don't know. It seems like it's on purpose, and this guy is one of the bigger names in it. So I'm trying to like not be dismissive of something I don't understand.
Well, I think it's anyway.
I think there's time ticking. We shouldn't just go on about nothing.
Yeah, feet low, but why not get me chatting on me, please? Real killy boss.
I gotta admit, this track is fucking fun. See, it's a lot. Honestly, I feel like from a lyrical point of view and shit, I don't know that there was a lot new to the table in terms of content and subject matter, but that's okay because the flow was different. The way he delivered the rhymes was different. Popcaan, I don't know how to say it. The dude
Popcaan.
It's cool. It's not even the first time I'm seeing this guy because he was on that Gorillaz album.
Yeah.
And he fucking dropped one hell of a hook. Like, it was really great. It's got this swagger to it that I really appreciate. He delivers it crisp and it adds serious value to the song and breaks it up. But almost like you want to dance to this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then Giggs comes in and drops his verses and comes in and does what he's been doing. And I fucking like it. I really just feel like it fits well with the beat. And maybe it's just because the style of beat is flipped up so drastically. And it suits him so well. And it suits the collaboration in general. I felt like this was a really, really strong one. I gave it a 4, actually, because it wasn't perfect. Maybe I'm still not seeing the brilliance. I'm still not necessarily relating as much to the album in terms of his rapping. It's again got this slower, constant pace to it. And again, we're 4 tracks in, and I kind of like the tricky stuff a little bit in these verses, and that's my preference. And I understand that there's a huge market for that slower, calm, calculated, delivered shit. It's just never been my favorite. But I also respect that this guy manages to keep a certain degree of life in every single bar that he delivers, and it's not boring. It's not static. And I want to give him his props as I'm saying all the other stuff. So I appreciate it, and yeah, a 4.
Fair enough. I like this track. I like the vibe to it. I like the energy. Popcaan is back, so I was like, sweet. He did great on that Gorillaz album. So I enjoyed it. It was fun. I just don't think that I'm really interested in the same content by now. We are at track 4, and I'm kind of just like, time's ticking, you're going after people again, you know, you're running out of time to do it. Like, it's kind of very similar to what you've been saying. Again, if it's part of the culture, hey, I apologize. I don't want to discredit anything. But for me as a listener, I'm just like, all right, I like the way you said it. I like the way you did it. I like the performance. But you have anything else to say, really? Like,
I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's part of the equation. That's part of why it's not a 5. I think it's the biggest thing to keep me from a 5. But as far as how he's saying it, it's really good. He's definitely
no.
dude.
I'm not trying to dispute that. I'm not saying that.
I get you, but also again, I'm not treating this as like heavily weighted on the content, knowing it's a mixtape.
Right, but it is really fun. But I did give it a 4.
Cool.
I did give it a 4.
I think we're like straight up the same grades the whole way through so far.
I don't know about that.
Well, so far. But next up is The Essence.
Another nigga gone, that's like the 12th sentence.
So apparently this one is the sequel to a song called Pain is the Essence that I have very much planned on listening to because this is fucking hype.
Yeah. Like,
all of a sudden you got your content shift. I don't care if you disagree with me.
No, I agree.
This is a lot about him accepting the pain of the area around him, like noticing the changes that are happening, understanding his role in the new world. And he explores like here's a great example of how like these bar tracks can be done right, where the topical every few lines transitions. It's almost like it kind of makes me think of like that Nas song where he's like walking down memory lane and just thinking of stuff, and how it feels like it has that tone. He's just looking around his neighborhood and noticing stuff, and then he doesn't really necessarily appreciate all of the changes that are happening and how like, you know, this is where I realized how OG this guy is and how like he's one of the more authentic types, and it's because of tracks like this where you get to see what he's dealing with on almost a deeper psychological level. And the beat's dark, it's got this mellow feel to it. He fits it well. His voice even sounds different here.
He took his time. I felt like he actually took his time and made it more into I'm telling you a story instead of rapping you a story or trying to be like, put it in your face. Like, this is something that you need to sit down and listen to and like be patient with. And I like how he really gave that feel to it.
And he gives off like this serious impression that he's ready to handle this new world in light of everything he's been through, and he's really like got the essence of what it takes. And see what I did there? But I dug this. I give it a 4.5 on 5. This is one of the best songs I've heard on the album so far, and this is the kind of shit that I'm really into. So, folks out there, if you can point me towards other tracks like this, it would be really nice, because I was blown away.
Yep.
A truly next level.
Yep. I gave this song a 4 on 5. It's only just because I wouldn't go back to this many times. But it is a great song. It is something that I think people should listen to and take the time to actually listen to it, read the lyrics, and kind of just get the other side for a moment.
Anyway, so...
Just catch the lingo.
Linguo.
Buffer and buffer the galleys. I like enough of them up in the garage.
This was fucking fun.
Yep.
This is a great party jam.
I love this.
I don't even know how to say this name. Donae'o, great hook. Like, great hook. Like, makes it fun. It's fluffy. Like, more people need to use this guy. If more people, like, let's say DJ Khaled had that guy on, like, 8 tracks on the album, I think I could have handled it, because his voice is smooth. Fair. It's proper. He sounds good. He's got some personality to him.
He's got that flair.
And then, oh boy, does Gigs like to fuck.
Yo,
and not only does he like to fuck, you kind of want to go to the gangbang with him. Like, you want to be in the room, right? Like, that first verse makes it sound like you want to be there.
Fair.
Like, he makes... Like, honestly, I was thinking about it. So many of these dudes that we've covered that talk about strip clubs and private rooms and shit. Like, honestly, it sounds awful. It's like a bunch of thirsty guys just throwing money around a room, and it sounds dirty and gross.
Fair enough.
This guy sounds like Come to the Party. It sounds like Tech Nine's tour bus. It sounds like some fun-ass place where, like, magical things happen and your girlfriend would never, ever, ever let you go there. It sounds pretty spectacular is what I'm trying to say. And his flow it's completely different. It's like, it's again like, whoa, the butter. And I was like, this is great. I
like how he
fun.
Swings off the ends. And then at the end of the lines?
Yeah, and then that second verse where he's just fucking her. And it's just all this new way. I've never heard these slang terms before in a lot of cases. So it was a great experience for me. But I also... There's not a lot to this song. It's a fun party jam. It's definitely not a game changer, but like it's great placement on this album. I really enjoyed it, and I give it a 4 on 5. I could totally see myself. I plussed it on Spotify. This is a fun song that definitely has its purpose in life.
Nice. I give it a 4 on 5 for the same reason, actually. It's a really cool party song. I like the way he swings off the ends of his verses and the lines, actually. Every line, he kind of has this little, like this flare in the air, this like swing off the last letter, and it's really, really cool. The chorus was just so nice and soothing to listen to, but it's not that strong content-wise. It is what it is. It's a party song, but it's not something that it's
pretty strong content-wise.
Well,
he put the dick up or the cock up inside of her, and all sorts of other descriptive terms.
Yeah,
it was clever as fuck, dude.
It was clever as fuck. I just feel that this is something that's like you play like at parties or something, like in terms of trying to get into like a mood or a vibe. This isn't something I'm gonna go like, vibe out. I don't know. For me, I wouldn't vibe out to this.
I would vibe out to this. You know what I would not vibe out to? Gangsters and dancers.
You are so wrong.
Mention. Back burnt out where motherfucking landed.
I like Giggs' verse. It was pretty good.
Yep.
Lil Duke's generic as fuck. Well, I don't know who he is. He's not bad. He's just indistinguishable from all the other little people out there right now. Young Thug.
Thugga.
I heard the dude in places where I like him. I don't necessarily hate him. But what's up with the Nicki Minaj monster voice? That was so unexpected and out of place, and it threw me for like a whole loop, right? Because that last line of the chorus sucks the way he delivers it. It's just bad. It's not funny. It's not cool. It's just vibe killing. It's like, okay, I'm feeling this otherwise generic rap song that clearly was put out here because of the names on the features.
Yep.
And then that Nicki Minaj monster voice. Really? Tell me that's not what it is.
To be fair, Thugga's bars and
then,
Thugga's verse wasn't even that strong either.
And how come he had 3 separate lines talking about smelling the pussy? And then, like, he sniffed. Like, you just picture him be like, sniffing his finger and shit, and you're just like, this is
yes,
gross.
I do. I
just
did.
Pickled juices all over, fermenting stuff. Yummy. I can smell the... I was just like, no, that's not necessarily the most pleasant smell. And we'll talk about that on the next track for sure. But it was just so lame. That's what ended up happening. So much of this was lame. Giggs is about the only cool part. The beat is whatever. It sounds generic.
The beat is dope.
It's not that dope.
The beat is dope.
It's not that dope.
The beat's dope.
It's generically dope. It's
generically dope.
It's like if
dope,
it came
dope.
on when I was drunk and faded, of course
Dope,
it's gonna
dope.
But it's not that good. Anyway, I gave this a 2.5 on 5. This
Jesus
song is a piece
Christ,
of shit.
you are so
This
wrong.
is like he took a shit in my fucking mouth. It's disgusting. What the fuck is with the Nicki Minaj?
What the hell is up with your comments? Who just took a shit in your mouth?
Young Thug.
I
don't know how you can defend this.
I'm not defending. I mean, okay, hold on.
Well,
let's get serious now about the song. Okay. Dope song.
no.
Dope beat. Fully generic, straight up. I'm not even gonna lie about it. Fully generic. Giggs, you killed it. It was awesome. Flow was on point. I feel like it was more Americanized only because of the features on it as well. But I didn't feel like he had his...
it's kind of like a bit of a sellout move.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
And that's dope? How? How's that a dope song?
I'm not saying it's a dope move. I think
You
the
said it
song
was a
itself...
dope song.
The song's dope. I can't... Look, the song itself is
How
dope.
is it
The
dope?
beat is catchy. It gets you in that dancing vibe.
No,
You
it
want to
doesn't.
listen to it.
Oh, it made
Thugga-
me want to turn it off.
It
It was painful, dude. It was not well done. I've defended Lil Yachty. I've defended Lil Uzi Vert. I've even defended Young
They're
Thug
different.
on the Dram
I
review.
don't even...
It's just, this was not... It's like Young Thug just laughed at everything. He doesn't even try.
I still gave this a 3.5 on 5 though. Like
I
I
don't
actually
understand how you had interest in this. You said it was a dope song.
It's dope, but it's not the best thing. Thugga did not do what he was supposed to do in terms of being good. It was shit. I'm not gonna lie.
How could it be dope if half
Because
the song is shit?
not gonna lie, some of it is also about how he does his thing. And I went back and kind of looked at Thugga and I was like, look,
Dope?
I get you. Yeah, dude, the same way you want to accept the fact that Lil Uzi does his thing, has his cadence with his mumble rap. Thugga's
Actually
kind
got
of
shit that's pretty talented. This was an obscene verse about smelling pussies and shit. Like, I'm sorry.
I'm not saying that
You and specifically said it was shit just a minute ago.
Yes.
And I don't know
think
how you
that-
can have a shit verse on a dope song.
Because you don't have to like one verse to think a song's dope.
But dude, like, we're talking about, like, Thugga is a very significant portion of this song, and if he failed to bring it, you didn't even mention Lil Duke. That's how indistinguishable this guy is.
I was getting to
You
that,
said it was
but Little
stupidly
Duke just is
generic.
generic.
And so I just don't see how it could be dope and generic. It's almost like they're oxymoronic. And to be dope it can't be generic.
Okay, fine.
Even the Major Bag Alert songs and the Migos is in the shit.
Honestly, I just like the
is
song.
less generic than this shit.
I like the song. You know what? I can't even defend it. I'm not even gonna try to defend it. I just like the song.
That's fine. YouTube, you can settle this debate and let us know what you think. Is this dope? Do you like the Young Thug voice? What do you guys think? I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old or something, but man, oh boy. And then next up, let's talk about some moist pussy.
Moist, make that pussy moist. Make that pussy flow, make that pussy voice.
I like this, first of all.
Yes.
Because granted, there are certain words that get repeated to death. It kind of works in terms of what it is. Because all the words that surround the P word that is used to death actually kind of create this congruent story of all the things he wants to do. Like, he really likes the pussy. And
Yep.
if it smells bad, it's no good. I told you that would come back. And then, like, in general, it almost sounds like this is the most preposterous song about a guy going, but it's delivered so well.
Yes.
I feel like I'm torn between laughing and being shocked at this track.
It's one of those songs that makes you like. It's not. I don't think. See, this is another debate. I don't think this is that good of a song in terms of like playing it everywhere. But it's something that you like. It's something that you would listen to. It's something that you're like, yo, okay, I get why people like this.
To be fair, there's not a single song we've ever reviewed that you would play everywhere. Every song is context specific to certain types of vibes. This happens to be like when your girl's not around. This happens to be maybe in the strip club. I don't know. I don't know when I would actually go out of my way to listen to this song. This is the kind of shit that comes on when you're in the car at work and you vibe to it and you just kind of hope nobody else was really listening, because just imagine you're at your desk. I mean, I don't even want to quote it too much because I'm afraid of the ad robots in terms of just how, like, it's just
go listen to the song.
Single line says the word. And somehow I'm not sitting here hating it. I actually gave this a 4.
Yeah.
It's got this fantastically fun energy. Like, you just picture him like the horniest horn dog out there, and all he wants to do is hit it. He's got all the options. But, like, it's not like
It's
boring.
not disgusting. It's not over the top. It's not degrading.
He just sounds kind of human.
Yeah.
He sounds like a regular dude who just wants to get laid a whole bunch.
But I think it's because he uses that word. I feel like
it's more the moist. I mean, it's and like
nobody likes the word moist.
And if you listen to the chorus, he's telling her, "Yeah, listen, make sure you finish yourself off with the toys and things like that." Like, he's clearly considerate. I mean, all I'm saying is, ladies, if you want, gigs is probably available given this album, is all I'm trying to say. And if he's married and I'm wrong, oh well. Anyway, I like this track. I give it a 4. I don't know that I'm going to play it a lot at home because, well, you know, it's dangerous material.
4 on 5. I played it this morning.
All right, next up is 50 Cali.
From the start, now I grab the mic like 100 racks.
So I feel like this is the better version of the first 2 or 3 songs.
I feel like this is boring.
Really?
It's boring in the sense that it doesn't have the craziest delivery. I feel like he's a little flatter on it. Content-wise, it's a little interesting, right? Because I feel like he's like the OG type, like I've said a few times. And he's noticing all these new cats rising up in the game who are kind of speaking all the nonsense. And he's kind of like, yeah, I ain't never lived that life. When push comes to shove, when it turns out you're more of a rapper who just wants to use words, and I'm the kind of guy that will finish it. And just that kind of vibe is coming. He clearly doesn't have a lot of respect for the fakeness that he's seeing around him. And that is really reminiscent of it. But, like, a lot of it was just kind of bland and boring in terms of the style at this point. I maybe it's just because I've heard a lot of this similar kind of thing on this mixtape so far, but there was almost nothing on this song that made it stand out as a smash banging track. Like, he claims he wants to win a Grammy on this, but this is not distinguishable. And like, even Moist Pussy had like this certain something to it It made it stand out. It was attention grabbing. It was really interesting. And somehow this track, it's 2 seconds less in length. It's just so much less engaging for me. Like, I saw you dancing and popping around while we was just listening to it, but it's vibe hoppy to me. Like, look, just because it fits a vibe doesn't make the song necessarily the best representation of what that vibe can be. It's almost like a cookie cutter by numbers track, even down to the part where he's hating the young kids. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. Like, I feel kind of mixed. That's maybe that's a whole other video, and we should talk about that OGs hating young people thing. I have a couple theories on that.
Fair enough. Let's do that.
But, like, yeah, I ended up giving this a 3. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of lame.
Well, to be honest, I was bumping around and jumping, but I also gave this a 3.5 out of 5 because it's a nice vibe track. It's a good song to, like, you know, when people coming over, you're playing that, they get into a good mood. When you're, like, getting ready to do something, you listen to that, and you just want to go. But it is very repetitive and kind of very similar to the first couple of songs on this album, and it's nothing really new. So,
but just to challenge that, like, you're gonna go make your playlist for your vibe songs and stuff. This, who's going out of their way to make this the highlight of a playlist? Who's even putting this on that vibe playlist?
Well, technically me. I mean, in my
I don't see you doing it, man. You say it now while we're on the review, but then in 4 weeks, if I'm gonna be like, name the song that you said you'd put on a playlist, you're gonna be like, I don't know. And that's the truth. There's nothing here. You'll remember Moist Pussy. You might remember
I'll remember it maybe more for
you might remember Linguo. You might remember even...
No, I'll probably remember 50 Cali. I enjoy the song. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I don't know. Bland.
I don't know if it's maybe I just enjoy the genericness to it. Maybe that's on my fault and on me. But I actually enjoy the song.
Is at this point, you've now got a playlist based on just our podcast alone of like 200 songs, right? Like, it's impossible. Now you have to shave songs off that playlist. Is 50 Cali really making the cut? That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I'm willing to bet Major Bag Alert stays on long before 80 Cali.
No, they both go at the same time. I'll tell you that right now.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, they're not making the cut. They're not really what's going to be at your playlist.
Okay.
They're just songs that are contenders that sound like they could be really good. Now, maybe somebody out there's like, fuck that. It's definitely on my playlist. I get that. Especially if Giggs is your favorite artist or some shit. I totally get that. But if I walked into a party and 50 Cali was playing, I'd probably look around and be like, uh-oh, I'm not going to have the best time. I'd be like, it's no disrespect. Even on this album, this is the second lowest grade I've given so far. I like most of this album more than this. This to me was just bleh.
Alright, okay.
Help. I even like the next track more. Outsiders.
You're looking like he's violent. I don't trust that. He's looking like he's...
See, I'd put this shit on a playlist.
This dragged on for me.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. To me, this had a vibe to it. It had some life to it.
It was funky. It was nice. I'm not going to deny that, but I felt like...
had 3 separate dudes coming in, dropping 3 fresh perspectives.
Oh, man. That was 3 separate dudes?
There's Footsie and DEE. I actually really liked both their verses.
I thought DEE was just doing the...
He did the third verse.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
But like, the
still, that felt like it went on.
Giggs came in, and like it's got a premise to it that's different. Like it's I mean, obviously he's hard and stuff, but they're like, look, we don't like outsiders. We don't want you here.
Right,
we don't trust you.
I caught that.
And Giggs does his verse talking about it, and I liked it. He's like, and I can tell his eyes are all red because he's already dipped into the supply, and fuck this guy, And then the chorus comes in. It's got a bit of a banger anthem feel to it, right? It's clearly meant to make you have a certain kind of connectivity at a show or some shit like that. Then Footsie comes in rapping the East Side, which is dope, and he does it through, and it's very similar to Giggs' verse, but it's almost like in a different pitch and tone and different kind of style coming through, and I thought it was really well placed. Chorus comes in, then DEE drops the third verse, which is a little bit different, but still has that proper, consistent flow that we've seen throughout that track. The beat's fantastic. This beat is one of those ones you could put on in the background, and it could probably fit most social gatherings. The song's not overly over the top or anything. It's got a great... I don't know, man. I give it a fucking 4. I thought it was well made. It's not like the greatest track ever. but it's definitely enjoyable. Definitely something I could go back to, even though at this point my list is huge, so I don't know how often I would ever spin it again.
Fair enough. I didn't catch the fact that there was the double DEE had a verse at the end. I felt like it was just an extended version of the second verse, Footsie, and I felt like it dragged on. I didn't really get the distinct different voice, but I don't know. I'm not.
Kind of had like a slower, laggier flow than Footsie. Footsie was a little more tight.
I just thought he slowed down. I just thought that Footsie slowed down. I was just like, okay, but I felt like it dragged on in terms of how it was done and how the song was presented. Gigs did well. That he kind of just, for me at this point, I feel like he just did what he usually does. What he's been doing throughout the album.
I had a new flow on this one.
Yeah, I just feel that it's not as distinct. So much. It was a bit different change. It just wasn't as distinct of a change to be like, oh, whoa, this is new. I was like, okay, I caught that little change up, but I wasn't like, oh, this is an entirely different new flow. But I ended up giving it a 3 on 5. I don't know, I didn't really feel this as much.
All right, next up, horror movie. Rawr.
Now man wanna start with us. Man brought it to the niggas HD, but man wanna scarf.
This is kind of like the DMX horror songs and shit, but like his version. And look, here's the thing. He was kind of going through and maintaining this vibe of how him and his squad are scary, and if you can come around, they're gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, like this mysterious kind of
eerie type of shit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm the best. I've got all the accomplishments, and I put the squad on. And I'm like, what the fuck? How is that even part of the horror movie? It doesn't make sense. He's actually following this crazy suspense plot that he's building up for like 2/3 of the song that he just abandons to go in this other direction out of nowhere.
Well, no, doesn't he like kill someone on this song? I'm pretty sure he like full on describes him killing somebody.
Then he just goes on about his accomplishments and shit on the end, and that's like we're talking about like all of a sudden he's a successful rapper. What I'm saying is he goes on and he does the horror, and then I guess I got this.
I think he's trying to make. Honestly, I felt like he was trying to make a parallel between like the fame and like the life that he had, like trying to like say that nothing for him is really different.
Okay, I mean, even if that's the case, I still feel like it was a strange
fair
direction.
I'm not disagreeing that.
Like you're walking through a maze and you literally walked into a pool for fucking how out of nowhere this shit was.
Whoop.
And I'm not trying to be like a hater on this. I just thought it killed the vibe. I thought he actually had something solid going through. It was building up. It wasn't like over the top. In fact, in some cases, I feel like he even reuses some of the same lines just in a different order to sell a different point. And I was okay with all of that. I was forgiving up until he pulled that damn bait and switch and fucking like the next thing I knew, he was talking about himself and some crooking. I don't know. It just seemed like arrogant and aimless. So I gave it a 3 on 5. I think it had the potential for a better song, but he ruined it.
I give it a 3.5 on 5. I really like the horror type music, horrorcore in a sense. But I didn't feel like he had the beat for it, but he didn't have the actual griminess to it. It was, like you said, a lot about his accomplishments. I did mention that he did have this little part where he like describes how he kills somebody. I was like, okay, I'll give you points on creativity, but you drifted away from that. Like you drifted away from even storytelling. Like if this was an entire horror movie, storytelling song about him being like a serial killer or some shit, creatively I'd been like, this is great, like this is amazing. But you switched so much in the verses that I was just like, okay, this is just...
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so 3.3 on 5.
All right, we got 2 left, and the next one is Peligro with the homeboy Dave.
Fuck that marriage. Man's just cheeky, man's just sneaky, plus embarrassed.
Man, I really like this song.
Really?
I am quite impressed by this. I feel like Giggs comes in with this great new flow, fresh feeling, great energy.
Right.
The rhyme pattern is nowhere near as monotonous as we've seen previously on the album.
Nope.
The beat's got a great feel to it. Like this is high energy.
It's different. It's different. I'll give it that.
Then Dave comes in. Dave is a fun fellow going on some crazy adventures.
I did not feel Dave.
First, Dave don't like no fake shit,
Dave.
right? I mean, Dave was he had some trickier bars going on throughout the whole verse. He was clever. He was really uninto fake shit. Is the first part. First 5 or 6 lines, like, I don't want your fake shit. I don't care about your.
I apologize.
Whatever.
I got that.
Then the next part was like a cougar basically rapes him, and the pussy was whatever. And then it just kind of goes on from there, and he's going. And it's just, he's describing these almost preposterous situations as he navigates and manages through it all. And I really liked it. I really thought it was well put together, well composed. I enjoyed this a lot. I don't have a lot more to add. I know I'm kind of just a bit of a broken record at this point, but Giggs doesn't necessarily flip it that much to give us one of those super deep philosophical meanings, and that is my drive. When I do these reviews, I tend to focus a lot on the lyrics first and what the songs are about, where then I transcend into the beats and I look for the package and etc. So I find it more challenging when so many of the songs are about very similar things, and this one is about similar things but delivered differently. And this is the type of rapper who delivers it differently each time, but I get a little bit antsy with it. Anyway, I get it as a 4. I can recognize this is a great track. I would come back to it.
Nice. I gave it a 3.5 on 5 only because I felt like Dave's verse went on. I apologize. I didn't really feel the trickiness in the verse. I felt like he was talented and he was good, but I don't know. I felt like he was lacking a little bit in terms of like presentation. Giggs, I mean, you're not lacking. You're just not changing as much, I guess, if we could say that, because you're talented, you're good, it sounds great, but it's still the same type of image and like facade that you've had the same throughout the album.
I mean, he's being himself. I guess this
right.
is just who he is.
Fair enough.
And for me, I guess I can respect the differences enough, but it isn't an interesting enough track in terms of what interests me in a song to give it a 5. That's okay. One left, right? You give a grade. Right?
Yep, 3.5 on 5. Let's go,
Ruler. Ruler, let's do it.
And so shit, but man's got the blooper scoop. King Coop.
This reminded me of Young Jock's coffee shop.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
You know Young Jock?
No. No, I don't know it. You can look at me like that. It's not going to make me know it more.
Okay, well, Young Jock's coffee shop is basically a song about, like, selling drugs, and he basically plays off how he has a trap house and it's like a coffee shop. And he just makes crazy puns and metaphors about the coffee shop and selling the drugs and how he whips it up and all this stuff. And I felt like this was just a British gangster version of it. In terms of like making movements, how he has scoops, how he kind of opens up at a certain time and he's got a whole business running. And I was just like, okay, I feel that.
I feel like he was trying to like articulate that he has in fact lived that life. And it's another part of trying to establish that in this community of grime hip hop in the UK, he is one of those OGs that has done this thing for real. He's an actual person. When he raps about it, it's authentic, whereas when other people rap about it, that's the kind of sense I got. But I also got, you can tell that he doesn't necessarily take his fame that seriously. Like, he's clearly not necessarily in this for anything more than the money or to establish what his goals are. But he still wants to stay in the hood. He still wants to do his thing. He doesn't want to bounce out and be flashy and be like one of those big talkers and be like one of those other guys. And I think he was trying to show that I am the real shit. I am the ruler because and that's the kind of vibe I got. I think it was a good ending track for this thing. I think it ends off on this note of, again, himself affirming, I'm the shit. I am super interesting. I've done all this stuff for real. I'm the hardest, etc. Which maybe doesn't sound like the most novel or interesting song, but this guy is a former gangster rapper type person, etc. So I respect where he's coming from. It's clever. The hook is my favorite hook on the whole album. It's got this really good fun, except for that line where he kind of gave up and was like whoop de doop de doop de doop, but he didn't even really say words. That was a little bit of a cop out. But in general, this track is fucking fly. So another 4.
Nice. Well, I gave it a 4 on 5 as well. I thought it was a pretty cool way to end the mixtape album, whatever this is. And I think that you know, it was nice to have, I guess, like a catchy, feel good type, realistic song at the end of the album. But I don't really have much to say on it, honestly. I pretty much said what I had to with the Young Jock comment.
Okay, so I guess that sums this one up. Sorry if we went through it quicker than other ones. It's just, honestly, it's foreign. It's new. When we first encountered a lot of the older hip-hop, we felt the same way. And we look forward to learning more about the grime culture in general. I like a couple of tracks on this album.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fully get my head around it. It's very hard. It's kind of like I'm not really the drug-dealing gangster type enough to fully relate to it. I give it a 3.69. I feel like it's a strong album. It's no classic, but it's a mixtape. It's a good mixtape. It's a good showcase of Buddy's talent. I'm certain it's going to help him carry his buzz for a little minute while he works on his next major project or whatever else he puts out. It serves its purpose. It's good to see the grime culture getting more exposure, and I hope that it helps get more attention to it, but I don't know. I'm curious. Like, for me, it just piqued my curiosity a little more, but didn't really give me exactly what I was looking for yet.
Fair enough. I gave this album a 3.5 on 5 album total. Well, round up to that. It's a good album. It's nice to listen to. I enjoyed it, but I'm cherry picking some of the songs off of it. I'm not going to go back and listen to this entire album again unless it's like a couple of years from now where I'm like, okay, you know, let me just play something. I want to see more of him.
50 Cali. You gonna listen to 50 Cali later?
I will have 50 Cali in my
Yeah, 'cause
playlist.
you're a petty fucker.
Yeah, that's right. And my point being is that I enjoy what he does, and I can see the creativity behind it. I think I want more of a conscientious type with broader aspects, different topics.
Who's the Deltron? Who's the Del the funky homo sapien of the grime scene?
There we go. That's one of them.
Fair
But
enough.
with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show.
We
I hope
appreciate you watching.
enjoyed going
Thank
through
you
this
so
with us.
much. Thank you. If you liked the video, if you liked it, feel free to comment below. In the description below, you'll find all the contact information, etc.
That
Feel free to
subscribe
keep
button.
in touch and let us know what you think and guide us on our grime tour. Peace.